I quote again some lines of Denise Levertov, with which I ended the last talk I gave in this room. Quote, "The door I threw my weight against was designed to open out toward me." Her image argues for confidence in this ultimately friendly power, in place of the anxiety about our next bout with writing because we think it's all up to us. It's better, I suspect, to make a mantra of these lines of Theodor Roethke, written when he arrived at a fallow in-between time, beginning winter, and says to himself, "A lively, understandable spirit once entertained you. It will come again. Be still. Wait." As we join our present inquiry with the deep past in the ways in which poets have spoken of this lively, understandable spirit, this figure of inspiration, which means literally being breathed into, we are aware that our experience may correspond to theirs, but our conception of it is quite different, very much a product of our own secular time in human history. The old figures may no longer command our imagination, yet their historical existence points to a mystery that outlives its time-bound manifestations. Of these ancient figures of inspiration, the most imaginable is the muse of lyric poetry from Greek mythology, one of the 9 daughters of Zeus and Mnemosyne, which means, of course, memory. Since muses were conceived of by men and meant to inspire them exclusively, naturally they were young virgins, all numbered 10s, a tradition that, as in Hirsch's poem, identifies lyric inspiration with desire for an absent, elusive lover. This makes sense for the male poet, since Eros is involved in creation as well as procreation. But the figure hasn't done much for women, who, when confused with the muse, find the role of inspiring men one that gets old fast, especially since you anticipated this. Unlike the idealized muse, so do we. A more compelling figure of this mysterious power, because less well endowed physically, happily genderless, more intangible, and harder than the muse to, excuse the expression, pin down, is what the Greeks called the daemon, spelled D-A-E-M-O-N, referring to a kind of secondary divinity, sometimes a guardian or inspiring spirit, an intermediary between gods and humans. Over time, this spiritual daemon devolved to mean demon, demonic possession being the opposite of the daemonic possession of the inspired poet. That the creative daemon shares a root with the demons we are taught to fear helps us understand how we learn, and learn all too easily, to obstruct our own creativity through the dominating, censoring activity of our own minds, the gray guardians of a false image, fearful, tyrannical, experts at shutting out reality.